Welcome back to Gasgrass 007 Gaming. I'm facing Baba 00 today, and this is a pretty interesting battle because I'm going to show you in this battle how utilizing fatigue and hero units and things like that really affect the battlefield. Even when you're outnumbered or most of your army has just decided to drop all their weapons and run. So this will be an interesting battle, hopefully educational for some of you guys that play Rome. Not Rome. I think this guy thought he was playing Rome. Some of you guys that play Shogun, I'll show you some different ways to win battles with being outnumbered and have when your opponent has the upper hand. But I have one unit of Bow Ashigaru, one unit of Bow Samurai, and one unit of Dakiaru Samurai. Now this is the first battle I've used this unit. I don't know exactly how to utilize them because I don't know how great they are. So just keep that in mind while I'm playing this. I have one unit of Yari Ashigaru, one unit of Bulletproof Samurai, one unit of Sword Ashigaru, one unit of Katana Samurai, one unit of Monk Hero, and one unit of Benkai's Blades. Then I have two units of Warrior Monk. I have one unit of Warrior Monk, one unit of Light Cavalry, and one unit of Yari Cavalry. And obviously my General's Bodyguard. He has Katana Cavalry, Bow Cavalry, Yari Cavalry, and like two more units of Bow Cavalry, I believe. Bow Samurai, Bow Ashigaru, Yari Ashigaru, yeah, okay. And the Avatar's Bodyguard. Now, the thing that really gives me the upper hand, even though I'm outnumbered and all kinds of other things in this battle as the battle goes on, he has no leveled units. The only leveled unit he has is his bodyguard. And a lot of your higher level units, or higher level players, will do this kind of build. What level is his hero? But I think he was, a lower level guy. But if you do encounter higher level players in the game, they will utilize this tactic because a lot of their units are so high level that they can only bring 5 or 6 units to the battlefield because they cost so much. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually send my cavalry into a fight, not knowing that they're probably not going to win. And I believe also I didn't realize that he had Bow Cavalry here because he moved everything as a unit, and most people, if they have Bow Cavalry, they'll position them different places than the rest of their cavalry. So when you are playing this game, look for that. Always look for subtle things that you can recognize what they're going to do, and you can counter it before they even make the decision to do it. Like later on in the battle, I line up my melee units here, but then I line them up over here. And then the one thing you'll notice that I do that he didn't even recognize as any threat at all was I spread out my units, do loose formation, getting ready for a charge. He didn't even, notice that. He didn't even pick up on that. So that was one of his downfalls in this match. Always look for subtle differences, subtle things that happen. When your opponent moves something, moves units, moves something, makes formations, makes different things, always look for those things. Always look to see where he positions them, how he positions them. And as you play the game and you get more experience, you're going to understand the positionings that players do subconsciously. Like, they don't really realize they give people hints when they do these things. And another thing I want to mention, sorry for my absence. I've been absent for like a week or two here. Somebody quit at my job, so I've been literally living at work and really haven't been home at all aside from sleeping. So that's why they didn't quit, they got fired, but that's why I've not been making videos. And I did post up on my feed a couple days ago that I do want to try to get some videos up, which I do have 3 days off now, so I do want to try to use these 3 days to get a few videos up at least. But as you see, I sacrificed my horsemen. Now, when you watch my videos, know that I'm not going to sacrifice all those units of horsemen unless I know my pike unit can take care of those horsemen. I'm not going to do that. I'm not stupid. I'm not doing that because oh, I'm just wasting my units. A lot of people are probably going to say that in the comments as though I get more watchers and viewers and things like that. But if I know for a fact that these 2 spear units can take care of all those horse units, my horsemen are going to kind of be casualty bait, pretty much. I'm going to charge you into you with your horsemen. I'm going to charge you into your horsemen with my horsemen. Try to get as much casualties out of your guys as possible, even though my units die. Now, what I do here eventually, I'm going to find a different word than do, right? I end up taking these Dakiaru Samurai to back up these spear units, and I bring them back and forth as needed. Now, and the thing he made a mistake for, I don't know why he did this. I brought up my 1 general unit, right? Just keep that in mind. I brought up 1 general unit, and he moved all of his bowmen back. I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to charge with my 1 general unit. If I had like 5 units of mounted monk cavalry, yeah, I'd probably charge into that. But I don't. So there's no way in the river Styx, or whatever you want to say, hell, that I'm going to fucking charge. I just swear anyway. I'm going to charge into that line of units. There's no way I'm going to do that. That's stupidity. I'm here to try to win. I might not win, you know, but I'm going to try to. I like the lighting in this match. You guys notice that? It's like evening. I like that. Now, I leave these 2 bow units here because I figure that they could easily take care of these guys, which they end up not doing. I think the trees got in the way. Like I said, use the trees as cover. He actually uses that to his advantage in this one. But I actually took this middle here, 1 because it's a bow strategic point, and if he would have actually took time to go get these strategic points, he probably would have won. But because of me using stamina and morale and things like that to my advantage, I think he was probably newer to the game, so he doesn't really understand the effects of stamina and fatigue and morale of your units, and how important the general unit really is. So if you don't have him specialized in mounted combat, you really don't want to have him near the combat zone kind of thing. So it's not because he's bad at the game, it's just because he doesn't understand the game yet. So don't criticize him. I will, you know me, guys. I will criticize people if they do something blatantly stupid that any novice would know, as long as you've ever played a strategy game before in your life. You know, I will criticize you then, but I think this is more. He's played other RTSs, but he doesn't understand this game, so he probably should have won this match if he would have understood the game a little more. But he doesn't, because he doesn't understand the game that much, which hopefully he might watch this video and he'll learn some things, and he might watch some of my other videos or some of the videos of the guys I have featured on my channel and learn things. That's where I learned a lot from Total War. That's where I had to go. I didn't have nobody to teach me. So now a lot of those guys have been on YouTube so long that they don't really go over the stuff that I'm going over, because if you go back and watch their first videos and things like that, they will show you those things. Milk and Cookies actually does a pretty good job at teaching you how to play the game. He teaches you how to play each individual Total War game, because they are slightly different in slightly different aspects. Here's what I'm talking about. All right, any expert player would know, as soon all these bowmen, I only have 1 bowman, I spread out all my men. Any expert would know, okay, he's coming in for a charge. Now, a lot of people like Prince of Macedon would have found a way to get this cavalry over to here to kind of hammer and anvil me and just completely decimate that force, which he doesn't do. He had this spare horse units that weren't being engaged by my spearmen or my bowmen. He had horsemen in general that could have outran everything, but I guess he was a little overconfident in what was going to happen here. I have a hero unit. That's why I was confident about sending all these units into charge, because those of you who play this game know a hero unit is kind of like a sub-captain. He provides the same morale support and things like that the general would provide, just not as much. And you're going to notice the morale and the fatigue and all that stuff come into effect as this battle goes on. These guys pretty much run the instant, like right there goes all their morale. And bam. A couple more minutes into this, they're probably going to run. My guys end up getting a little scared too as well. And then as soon as my heroes run in there, I activate their special ability, which damages morale, makes them kind of scared. They don't know what to think. And this is actually my first time using these Bunkai's blades as well, and they really surprised me in this battle. I do believe that they will be the highest kill unit in this match. If not, my hero unit will be. I was not expecting them to be that strong. He did bring his horsemen over, but at this point it was just way too late. These guys were already running, so I was able to turn my swordsman and face him, and obviously my swordsmen are colored, and that means they're leveled, because the only way you can color your units is if they're leveled, and that's another thing you look for too. Now a lot of these basic units like Yari Ashigaru and stuff like that will automatically go to the color scheme regardless if they're leveled or not. I actually run these guys, the hero unit and my Katana Samurai up here, because I noticed that they're raining pretty much hell on my soldiers with arrows, so I wanted to kind of get at least 2 bow units out of the way to... Well, that guy didn't do too well. That way I don't, you know... And there's really no battling going on over this area. It's just back and forth, back and forth. He gets his general out of there, which was the smart thing to do at the time. He takes a bow unit and a spear unit with him. Good strategy actually, but it doesn't really help him. My lone swordsman here actually did oh, that's my warrior monk hero. Never underestimate a hero unit, especially one that's leveled. Never, never, never. If you have to send your whole army to destroy a hero unit, do it if you can. And this is what I'm saying about these Bankai's blades. I did not expect them to be able to hold off like 150 people all by themselves, you know. But they did. They easily just decimate these guys. And then I send them into these bow units, my hero, so there's no more arrows falling on my unit, which was actually the big mistake for him. If he would have kept some bow units back here and a bow unit behind this guy, I probably would have ran. Now my Bankai's blades are, you know, they're done. And here's where I actually use fatigue to the advantage. What I'm doing here with my spear units is I'm using these guys to kind of as bait, and I'm using my bulletproof samurai to target all of the units that are fatigued, heavily fatigued, because I know when I charge those units, they're only going to be in battle for a little bit, and then, you know, they're going to run, and then I can switch where I use my units. Now he was a little dumb here. He kept his general unit right there, and by the time he realized what was going on, it was just too late. He tries to run in with his horsemen, but these Denku samurai dispatch them pretty easily. Why they're running after them, I never gave them an order to do so, so I don't know why that happened actually. I reformed my bow line, and he thinks twice about charging, which was the bad thing to do. Now my bulletproof samurai pretty much have reign over the entire field over here, and his general unit's pretty much done. He's over with, and my hero unit is getting some energy back before I charge into these last melee units. And I'm going to focus on these heavily damaged morale and fatigued units again with my bulletproof samurai, which means it's going to be a short engagement, and my bulletproof samurai aren't going to lose much morale or fatigue, because once this is over with, it's just they're gonna run. And I love these bulletproof samurai, dude. I really do. Now they're hitting me with the bow units, the horsemen, so I decide to charge into his horsemen, and this is where the battle will end. And I still have my general unit, which has a bow at this point, and a bow unit. And he tries to run, but it's just too late at that point. My guys are already in the middle of his guys, and as they run, my spears are taking out horsemen and shit like that. So he just doesn't. Then he tries to charge into my bow units, which these are my Denku samurai, so they're not going to go down that easy either. Not as easy as you would think. they get a couple volleys off into the charging units, and these horsemen, the only real full morale, he only has one bow cavalry that's full morale. My bulletproof samurai are still in the field, they're chasing after. My hero unit finally goes down, and he charges into my general, and the thing is, he would have probably won this, but the problem of it being he has no general left. So even though he has all these horsemen charging into my general, some of them are going to lose morale, some of them are actually going to run, and here comes my bulletproof samurai that he had to reposition in order to, he had to charge them basically, because if he didn't charge them, I was going to hammer and anvil with my general, which I still do, but he goes down pretty easily. And that's actually how effective the hammer and anvil can be with just 2 units if you have them fatigued and low morale. So just keep that in mind. And then at this point, they only really have bow units left, or this bow unit left, so I just charge in with my general to the bow unit. They try to run, but they run a little bit too late, and these guys are like, oh my god, it's horses, even though I have the weakness. So using each unit's weakness, morale, fatigue, and all that stuff to your advantage, regardless of how outnumbered you are, regardless of how good the player is, if you can countermeasure a lot of the things that are happening, you can still win. And that's what's great about Total War. As long as you are good, it doesn't matter what level your units are, it doesn't matter what you know, what's going on in the battlefield, as long as you can effectively counter what is happening, as long as you can effectively use everyone's weaknesses to your advantage, even though he was a little not too smart because he brought all spear units and pike units and things like that, which is what I'm going to say, because I don't know exactly what they call them in Japan. He brought only that, so the fact that I charged in with melee sword units, that's their weakness. So obviously they're going to come into it with the upper hand, regardless of how many units you have. And then I had the hero unit and the Benkai's blade, which if it wasn't for those two, I probably wouldn't have won this. So they kept these guys busy over here as long as possible. Look at the carnage at the hill. Oh, and also, by the way, I noticed some people do this. The only way your spear wall is effective is against cavalry and other spearmen. The swordsmen in this game are specialized in close quarters combat, so you're not going to be able, yeah, you might kill someone in the initial charge, but once they get into you, once they get into the ranks of your spearmen, the spear wall is just, it's useless. Your best bet, if you're outnumbered with swordsmen and stuff like that, is to make a long line with your spearmen and then surround them with your spearmen, because it's going to affect their morale a little faster. It's going to affect the enemy units' fatigue a little faster because they have to fight from all sides. They don't have the fresh ranks behind them that can take the place of the people that die and things like that. So, like I said, if you can utilize the game's mechanics, use the weaknesses to your advantage, use the fatigue, morale, and stamina to your advantage, you are going to win. Regardless of how good or how high of level the enemy's units are, or, you know, whatever. If you can utilize weaknesses and everything I just said to your advantage, you are going to win. And that's what I want to get across here, because a lot of people like Prince of Macedon that aren't used to this setup, and it's not their fault. They aren't as good, because really coming into this is like going from Call of Duty to Battlefield. Most Total War games were all pretty much the same. You could go into it knowing exactly what to expect. This added a whole new strategic element to the Total War series in general. So a lot of those guys that were veterans of the Total War series weren't as good when they first got into this game. They pretty much had to relearn everything, because everything's just a little bit different. It's still mostly the same, but a little bit different. And that's no fault of their own. That's just the fact that you've gotten used to a formula like the Call of Duty nerds, and they're introducing something new to kind of broaden the audience to the game. So that's not their fault. It's not that they're not good at the game. They just don't understand coming into this, when it first came out, they didn't understand the mechanics. They had to relearn a lot of the things they already knew. So that's why you see a lot of the older guys don't play it. Some of them accepted the challenge, some of them didn't. They liked the old formula a lot because they feel like it was more fair because of, you know, whatever. But as I just proved, this game is still very fair. As long as you can learn the mechanics of the game, as long as you can utilize things to your advantage, and that's the main key. A lot of the old Total War games, as long as you had the better units, as long as you had the better strategies and things like that, you were able to win, hands down. With this game, they made it a little different on purpose. That way, somebody new coming into this after somebody's been playing for years and is level 10 green or blue or red or whatever, is still has a chance to lose. And that's why they introduced this. That's why they tried to use this. Now, I firmly feel that with Rome, they could have used the same system. Like, I feel like they could have made it so you can pick a country that you wanted to fight for, and then pick the units from that country or that area, and use the units from there and level them up. I just don't think the multiplayer for that one was thought out as much as it was for Shogun, because you gotta understand, this is what kind of gripes me about Creative Assembly. Shogun 1 was their first Total War game, which put them on the map. So Shogun 2 was their baby. They put their heart, soul, sweat, blood into this game to make it as perfect as they could possibly make it. That's why the release of this game was not as buggy as previous games or Rome. That's why everything seems to be pretty balanced once you learn strategies, once you learn how to use the mechanics of the game. So even if I take a bow unit at my skill level I am right now, if I take bow units and sword units into a all gun unit army that's the enemy, I am still 50-50 chance gonna win, because I've fought a lot of people that do that, and I've died a lot of times playing those people, so I've kind of learned strategies and learned ways to beat them. And that's pretty much what you have to do in this game. You have to find a person, like say you get a couple guys that have an all-horse army, and you just get obliterated every time. You gotta keep going back to those guys. I want to play you again. I want to play you again. And then eventually you're going to learn different strategies. You're going to learn different ways that suits you as a person. And your personality and the army archetype that you use. I use a balanced army. I like using a balanced army. I feel a balanced army is the kind of army that you can react to any situation as needed. Other people like to use all cavalry. Some people like to use all range units. Some people like to use all spear units. Some people like to use range and spear units. You know, there's different play styles, and that's what makes this game so popular. But I won that battle. Good game to Baba00. Sorry for my ranting. I just haven't been playing for a while, so I wanted to update you guys on what was going on. Alright, so I'm predicting that my hero or my Daku Samurai are going to be the units of the day. As far as experience, I think my Daku Samurai is the unit of the day, but he is not for kills, and that's what matters. So my Warrior Monk hero is the kill unit of the day, which is 274 kills. 23 units lost, only one guy survived, but they fought to the very end, which I'm proud of them for that. His unit of the day was his bow cavalry, one of the units of his bow cavalry, which was 95 kills, 44 lost, and a total deployed of 60. Now, I will see you guys tomorrow. I will try to make a few more videos tomorrow, and I do want to get some, sorry for that, I was putting my hands together and it just made a loud noise. I do want to get maybe some RPG footage up. I do want to do a couple more Total War videos and things like that. So I will see you then. This is GasGrasserAss007 signing off, and I'm back. So stay tuned and watch my videos and subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.